We got a ton of new Pokemon Scarlet and Violet news in the most recent Pokemon Presents, including information on something we've all been waiting for in the competitive community, and that's information on the new battle mechanic. Before we get into all of the details, please be warned that there are spoilers ahead, so proceed at your own risk, and that the information that we are discussing is not complete yet, so we will only be talking about things that have been confirmed in official sources. And I mean official sources. Please do not post any leaks in the comments. I do not want to regret making my very first game preview video of an upcoming game. Don't do it. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the new battle mechanic of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, the Terastal phenomenon. The first glimpses we got of the Terastal phenomenon were during the most recent Pokemon Presents, featuring gameplay footage of sparkly gem-like Pokemon that have undergone a process called terastalization. From the official website, it is said that when a Pokemon terastalizes, a Terra Jewel appears above the Pokemon's head like a crown, and the Pokemon's body glistens like a cut gemstone. That is super obvious. We all see the hats, which are, I guess, actually crowns, but we all definitely see the glimmer. So what's actually happening here besides the physical appearance changes to the Pokemon? Well, each Pokemon has a Terra type, which is inactive until the Pokemon actually undergoes terastalization, after which that Pokemon will override its current typing to just the mono Terra type. On top of that, the Pokemon receives a special boost to moves that the Pokemon uses that share that Terra type. Before we discuss strategy, there are two more important things to note that are in the official website that I feel like are really important information about the Terastal phenomenon. Number one, it does say that there are 18 types, referring to Terra types, which means that there are countless combinations of Pokemon and Terra types. And number two, all Pokemon in Paldea can terastalize to gain a special power. From a competitive standpoint, this means that every Pokemon in the Paldea Regional Pokédex can terastalize, and it is also very possible that every Pokemon will have access to all 18 Terra types. This does mean, if it's true, we might have to play a bit of a guessing game in terms of what Pokemon is my opponent going to terastalize, and what type is it going to change to. What I think is a little bit more reasonable is we will end up seeing these Terra type and Pokemon combinations rolled out in waves, kind of like how we saw with Dynamax in Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, where we saw a new wave of releases of Gigantamax Pokemon, which allowed us to have a little bit more time to adjust to what was in front of us before we moved on to something else. Kind of a hot take, but even if you do have to guess a little bit, I feel like it cannot be any worse than trying to guess your opponent's Dynamaxing Pokemon. I feel like you get punished for that way worse than if you were to guess the terastalizing Pokemon wrong. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong about that. It's just speculation. I am not going to regret saying that at all in a future Pokemon Scarlet and Violet video that I make. Speaking of speculation, now we don't know the full Paldea Regional Pokédex yet. If you've seen leaks about it, please don't post them here. But it's still going to be super fun to think about all of the strategic possibilities about terastalization, so let's talk about it. I think one of the first ways to use terastalization that comes to mind is very reminiscent of the early treatment of Dynamax and Gigantamax in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Essentially, identify 1 to 2 carries on your team that you can terastalize to boost an existing same type attack bonus option. Tyranitar and Excadrill are two of my favorite Pokemon, and if they end up being in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, then I definitely see a world where they're on a team and you terastalize one to become Mono Ground or Mono Rock respectively. In the same vein, you can also use terastalization to remove a specific weakness from a Pokemon that otherwise may make it less viable. For example, Tyranitar terastalizing to Ghost type to gain an immunity to fighting, or Hydreigon terastalizing to Steel type to gain a resistance to Fairy, basically removing a 4x weakness in favor of an immunity or resistance that you need for a team. This is definitely a more defensive application of terastalization. It may not be as prominent or meta until the actual meta evolves more, but that's kind of to be expected because it does not appear that you need a Pokemon to hold a special item in order to terastalize, which really opens up the possibilities in terms of evolving the use of the mechanic as people start to become more familiar with it. Lastly, because this is just such a terrifying or funny thought, Can I interest you in an electric terror type Shedinja holding an air balloon? Whether you answered yes or no to that tells me a lot about you as a person, and if you did not have an immediate visceral reaction to that question, well, let me fill you in. Shedinja is a Pokemon that has an ability called Wonder Guard, which means that it can only be hit by moves that are super effective. It's normally a Bug and Ghost type Pokemon, which means that it can be knocked out by exactly 5 move types under normal circumstances. But if it terastalizes to an Electric Terra type, which overrides its Bug and Ghost typing, and it holds an air balloon, which removes your ability to be hit by the one weakness that Electric type Pokemon have, I think you get the picture. As a reminder, we still do not have official confirmation about the Paldea Regional Pokédex. So while the speculation was fun, let's not get too carried away with ourselves just yet about the strategic possibilities of terastalization. I promise, as soon as we know more about the phenomenon itself, and of course the regional Pokédex, I will do tons of cool Pokemon content around the Pokemon that will be neat to use in the next competitive cycle. Until then, the World Championships are going to be in a few weeks, so I'll see you all in London. And of course, we also have the Series 13 VGC rule set and Pokemon Sword and Shield to tide us over until we know more. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.